We wanted to ask you about your own origin story and about your, I think, pretty unusual decision to leave Vox Media, where you're a producer, and try to do quite high quality journalism on YouTube. And I just wondered if you'd sort of talk us through that decision a little bit.
I think a lot of that origin story centers around two things. One of which is um, the impulse to try to explain things well in a way that lots of people can understand. I basically believe that there is nothing that affects all of our lives that people can't understand. I'm not saying I'm going to ever understand quantum physics in, a deep way like an expert, but I do think I can understand the implications of a quantum computer. And then the second thing is this desire to use that skill in a way that helps people make sense of the world, specifically now with this angle to help them make it better. So there's a lot that I learned while I was at Vox, VOX, not FOX. And
Mm.
I took that and am using it in Huge If True in a way that maybe is also borrowing from some of the great YouTubers that I've admired my whole life, to now make something that does those two things in a new kind of way.
There's just an article titled "Why the Best Journalists on YouTube Were All Former Vox VOX Employees" by Simon Owens, and it's true of our beloved old colleague Joe Posner, we both worked with. But what is the answer to that? Why do you think people like you, Johnny Harris, what was going on at Vox a few years ago that birthed this kind of subculture?
Well, Vox was just incredibly generous about letting us learn. Vox was this incredible greenhouse while I was there of people that were smart and creative, um, genuinely trying to explain things in a way that was several levels deeper than a lot of the sort of headline news that I was seeing at the time. And as a result, you learn some of those thorny skills of explanation in a way that allows you then to make a really great, rich, visually interesting video. It was also a place where a lot of people were collaborating constantly, but also given enough freedom and independence to make their own things. And so you see these individuals learn how to be individuals, I think, in a really healthy way that has now allowed a lot of us to go and start our own things. So I think that was the recipe.
Do you see it kind of seeping into other stuff that's out there? Do you see like Vox DNA in other stuff on YouTube or yeah, in particularly, I guess, visually?
Well, I think Vox itself was tapping into its own media moment. I think Vox is also an example of some of the larger trends that we might talk about. One is an emphasis on really great visuals, but Vox itself was tapping into that trend in information gathering. And then there was also the trend toward individuals and personal connection to why should I care about a story? Well, I'm going to follow, maybe it's me as I learn about something, maybe it's Johnny Harris, maybe it's Joss Fong. And then I think Vox was, though a media company, also part of this, the very beginning of this trend toward what we're now calling independent media. It was, in effect, a bunch of journalists working to explain something that all happened to be working together, and that had a lot of really wonderful benefits, but it was tapping into what I see now as much the same trend that I'm still tapping into with my own YouTube channel.